I see what we are doing with Nifs as more as a calling. I said that on national TV yesterday as well, because I have been privileged for more than 15 years to be exposed to international business, to the business side of film and television. I am coming from television background, by the way. I've worked with major TV networks, international, and also major distribution companies as well. So I'm not an event planner. This is my job. And that is why I'm able to resonate with the issues, even from my own first-hand experience. Some of the problems, some of the capacity building workshops that we are putting together are from issues that I have encountered in the process of being a distribution executive, in the process of being an acquisition executive for different platforms, right? And I know that these issues, if we don't talk about them, if we don't address them, they will remain a ceiling, right? We can't go beyond certain levels. So, and that is why I am grateful to God for the journey so far. It has been a lot, and like Chinwe said, we already had our first event this year at the Cannes International Film, at the Cannes Film Festival, and we have a couple more. So, like, I'll tell my team, I say, you have just this week to work on Lagos. Next week, we are on London. We have moved because we have a whole lot more that we have to do for the rest of the year. But I just want to say that, yes, it's a burden that I have, a ministry, a calling, that I have to elevate this industry, help elevate people's career, and, bring about the needed knowledge. There's so much gap in knowledge that we are trying to fix, help people to understand better how to do the business of film and television. And I just want to share and it's been a journey of impact as well. Just two stories, and I'm off here. The first is I was invited for the French Bastille, which is the French independence by our partners, the French embassy. And somebody walked up to me and said to me, "Oh, you remember when Amazon Prime Video came and you organized the pitch for projects to be pitched to them?" I said, "Yes, I remember." And then he narrated a story of how, this is very interesting, he was selected, right? His friend was not selected. But guess what? They posed as partners to pitch two projects with one opportunity. Now, guess who was selected?
His friend.
The Gatecrasher. And as at the time that he was narrating the story to me, Amazon had commissioned, they had finished production, actually. And I think I got an email from that guy this year to say that the movie is up already on Amazon. And you see, these are the kind of things that inspire me, right? These are the kind of stories that I just put something together. I have walked away, I have forgotten. And here we see people's careers and people's lives being transformed. Also, in one of our events in Paris, I put together, we have this conference room next door, which please make sure you utilize it as much as possible for your B2B meetings. That is why we have it. And I put something small in France, in Paris, right? Just the size of that room. And we have top executives of major French companies in the room. And, the focus was producing with Nigeria. We had 2 or 3 producers from Nigeria coming to pitch what they have already done. And I did that. We did that also, by the grace of God. The major French broadcaster, pay TV channel, I don't know if I should mention their name. Yes, it's not even a secret. Canal Plus picked up that project. It took 3 years for them to develop. Just development. You know what is development? Scripting. And they only produced it last year, since 2019. And these are, again, a testament to the fact that we are not gatekeepers. We are the access. That is what this is all about, to provide access and not to gatekeep. Whatever happens here, if I'm privileged to know, I know. Most times I don't know. but it has been one success story after the other, and I'm super, super excited, and I'm looking forward to what is also going to happen, the transformational journeys that is going to happen for some people. And like also encourage, please network. Don't talk to people in your network. Don't talk to people you know. Talk to people you don't know. That is why you are here. Okay? There are people who are here from the UK. I didn't know them. We met in Cannes, and they are here today. So please make the most use of this opportunity. And I know that there's a lot of information. By the time you leave here, information overload. I don't know how you want to manage it, but I'm just giving you that caveat so that upfront you know that, yes, there's a lot that you're going to be learning here. And so in closing, as my manner is, I'm going to say an opening prayer, if you indulge me, please, so that we can commit everything to God's hands and believe, God, that this will not be an exercise in futility. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for another edition of Nifs Lagos. It has been you all the way. I thank you. All the accolades, all the praises belongs to you because it's not me, it's you. And so I'm very grateful for everybody here and all the partners, all the support systems, all the volunteers, every single one of, persons who have been committed to this cause. And we pray that as we start this program again, that you will go with us, that you will start with us, you will end with us, that it will be a meaningful time, that it will be a worthwhile investment for everyone that has come out. We ask, oh God, that you will lead us and you take absolute preeminence in everything that is done here. Thank you, because we know that you are going to help us and that our prayers are answered. For in Jesus' name I have prayed. Amen. And on this note, I declare Nifs Lagos open, and I wish you all very fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, IJ, for that intro. And before we proceed, I think we'll do a bit of some house rules. I think the exit is there, as you can see, so let's not try to keep that busy. And for the speakers, really, really want to crave your indulgence. The timer is there. So this year, I've been warned and overwarned to please make sure we stick to time. It's important you stick to time. And then following the agenda, there's actually no hard copy. Please go to nifssummit.com to see the agenda. We're actually on time. This should be like the second item on the agenda. Please go to nifssummit.com to see the agenda, please. Are we there? Please go on your phones. Do we have free Wi-Fi, Godwin? Is there Wi-Fi here? Okay. Okay, there's a password there. So look there to my left. Please log on and then please follow the agenda online. Thank you. So we get started. And the next one is from 9:10 to 9:50. So it's a 30-minute session. And it will be on film critics conversation. So this group of people will be looking at the challenges and opportunities for film critics in shaping African cinema. We have very interesting panels here. We have Shalat Thompson. Please, if I call your name, can you please come forward? Thank you. And encourage them by clapping. Thank you. Shalat Thompson is a film producer of Cat Strips Entertainment. We have Irabo Okosun, who's a media entrepreneur. Can you please come forward? Terrific Communications. We also have Dami Dawson. Dami is a well-known film critic. Please give it up for Dami as it comes forward. And the moderator for this panel is A.A. Presley. He's a storyteller and filmmaker, a media personality. And please, where's this person? Please come forward, Dami Presley. Are you here? Fantastic. So I think it might be better to be in the middle, yeah? Okay. So there'll be a session for question and answers, and that's like 30 minutes. So the only way we can achieve that, guys, is if we can keep it to 30 minutes, please. Thank you. Can we please encourage them by clapping? Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Okay. Right. Good morning, everyone. Great to see everybody. Could you please nudge the person to your right or left? Let them know Presley is talking to you. Right. Good morning, everyone. Somebody will say, I'm not trying to test the microphone. I'm actually caught saying. So, good morning, everybody. Bjorn Stevens, ma'am, good morning. Great to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. Right. Who else do I know there that I need to say good morning to? All right, let's do this one more time. Good morning, everyone. Right, great to be here. Great to have this conversation. I'm super excited to even moderate this conversation alongside folks that I absolutely, absolutely respect. Big shout out to the team behind NIFS, and of course, absolutely loved the prayer and just how we're launching into the conversation. Because of the brevity of time, right, we want to delve into it really, really quickly. Amplifying Nollywood voices. Opportunities and challenges for film critics in shaping African cinema is the conversation we're having this morning. And I think it's a very important one, at the risk of sounding like a poster. But I believe that even the questions and even the comments that we will get from all of these incredibly wise men, would indeed convince you as to why this is important, like I said. Just so Irabo, Dami, and Shola, I know them outside of here. We've had a number of encounters, but I sort of want to launch all three of you into the deep end from the jump, right? We didn't rehearse what this panel would look like, but I know that probably by the end of it, certain people might be. All right, let's just get into it. Shola, I think I want to start with you. Let's start from the beginning, right? Who is a film critic, in your own words? And then on the back of that, could you let me know at what point did it dawn on you that you could start to identify as a film critic, in the film industry?
Test. This is working. All right. So, to define a film critic, I would say, for most parts, there are people who have like an overblown sense of importance in most cases, trying to break the ice here. And I think one of the reasons, one of the things I'm also trying to highlight is the fact that since the dawn of filmmaking, I think people have tried to highlight how important it is to have film critics because they help you grow the industry, and also if they're unbiased, they also help you highlight the movies that actually make more sense so that other upcoming filmmakers will know exactly what to follow. So to jump to your next question quickly, why? Back in the days, I used to be I was working at MTV basically as the person who critiques what music videos go on, decide what Nigerian videos go on, and I guess I had a knack for it. And then moving forward, just playing around, I realized, and apart from having a deep love for film and basically not having a childhood with a lot of social interaction, I realized that all I had to do was just watch films to entertain myself. And you might even wonder, oh, he has a bit of an accent. It's not because I travel a lot, it's because I watch too many movies. So that's to say, that's actually why I got very interested. A big lover of films and film. And then also, I guess, being a film critic is for me to be able to, or if, I don't want to say maybe, let me rephrase, being a former film critic who decided to test the waters, is one of the reasons I did that was majorly because I love film so much, and I feel like to have more impact, it'd be important to actually just understand exactly how complicated the process can be.
All right. Can we please appreciate Shola this morning? Outside of being a lover of film, like he said, I also know he's a film producer. He does have a film out already, which is interesting, and I'll come back to why that is interesting. Dami, I'd like to get your thoughts on this question also, easily because to a very large extent, the most vocal film critic that at least I know, in just in this part of the world. And I think it's also interesting to let the people know what your definition of a film critic is, but more importantly, at what point did you start to identify as a film critic?
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me. I think I'll start from the second question. I wanted to work in film. I have a film background. I did. I was a child actor in Super Story a long time ago, and my uncle did Face to Face, AK Media. So I wanted to work in film. I didn't just come up and be like, yes, AK Media is my uncle. Rest his soul. I wanted to work in film. I went to film school. I came back and I wanted to make films, and I got a chance to be on a particular set. Critiquing was a course in film school. It was just, as a film producer, you need to know what people think about your films or how they're sort of assessing your films. So I got a chance to work on a particular film, and I saw something, and I was like, bruh, I cannot survive in this space. Like, Nollywood is not a real space. It's a space for people who are very strong, and I saw actors being very bougie. I saw crew members treated like, forgive my French, shit. And I was just like, nah, this is not what I was taught, and I don't think I could survive in this space. So I took the different route to talk about the challenges that I saw, being in the space. And I think it's worked. I started as a faceless platform, and my writings were very critical. But I said the only way I can make a difference is to bring my face out. So I put my face out and said stuff, and just my opinion, to be honest. And I know a lot of people don't agree with you, but it's my opinion on what I think about, the filmmaking process, some stories, some designs, and what I just think would work. And fortunately for me, I've been able to build a community of people that sort of see sense or see little sense in the things that I say about filmmaking or about the whole film process in Nigeria as a whole. So that's my entrance into this whole critiquing space. But who's a film critic? It's someone that understands the idea of filmmaking from the beginning to the end. I may not be there yet compared to the likes of Roger Ebert and all these guys, other parts of the world who are renowned film critics, but the idea is to build a space where people can largely come out and say what they think about films without being castigated or, talked down on, because we are consumers, and I believe in every sense of it. As a consumer, you are a critic. When you pay for something, if you go buy food at the restaurant and you don't like the taste, you have to complain about it. You don't care what hours was put into making the food. That's not your concern. You paid money for it. And that's what I stand by as a film critic. I will talk about your film if I don't enjoy your film. I appreciate the effort you put into making the film, but I'm the consumer now, so think about it that way. And I think if a lot of filmmakers think about it that way, the process would be easy and you would appreciate the critics more, the constructive ones, not cinema pointer. Thank you.
I hoped to God that we wouldn't point in the direction of anybody, but yeah, since it's necessary, yeah. Since we've already, decided to go on this trajectory, Irabo, let me come to you real quick. Quite like Dami and Shola, outside of being just a film lover yourself, you're also someone who understands the marketing business of even film, TV, and radio. But the question I want to throw to you is not even so much the film critic question. Um, do you genuinely think, do you genuinely believe that film critics do have a stake, or better phrase, contribute something tangible to filmmaking in any industry at all?
Yeah, I believe so. Great to be here. Good morning, everybody. Um, I feel the ecosystem requires every compartment. Film critics, the producers, the directors, screenwriters, the award shows, everything. So, um, like Dami said, and also Shola, and I believe you too believe that once you're constructive, you're not bashful, trying to kind of say, "Oh, I saw this, and I think you could have done this better," because we are trying to push the envelope for a particular industry that is still in its infant stages, if we'll all agree. But I feel that it needs more participants, to give it more credibility. Yes, we have the Shola Thompsons, we have the Dami Dawsons, we have the Presleys, myself, Damilare, and a host of others. But once it's now like a community of 100, solid, credible guys, ladies that they're coming from the standpoint of trying to, I would say, take the industry to Excelsior. So I believe, yes, we have a stake, a huge stake, in fact. A movie critic or a TV critic or whatever culture critic, I feel that they should move society in the right direction. If it's political dramas, if it's comedies, you have to see the nuances, understand where, the producer, whoever is buying the film, where they're coming from, try and communicate it sort of like a comedian would in a sense, So yes, we do have a stake, just as everybody else, yeah.
Right. I absolutely love how you say that. Just as we say a lot that film is a collaborative effort, and that the industry needs all of these compartments. But let's also address the elephant in the room. While there are a number of us that comment on film as much as we can, if we're being honest, the industry is not particularly nice, for lack of a better term, to film critics, because there's this, I guess, assumption or posture that certain people have as to what gives you the right to comment about certain things, especially if your comments are not necessarily pleasant, for lack of a better term. Now, if we say on one hand that we agree that film critics are useful for the culture or for the making of these films, the question would then be, how come the guys that are making these films, or maybe the guys that are watching it, still struggle to appreciate that this can actually be a thing that is useful? What would you say, Shola?
I would say it's mostly because there are a number of film critics now, and it's unfortunately because most of their comments are not objective. You'd hear statements like, "I was watching this movie and I fell asleep." I've seen that a lot. And what's annoying about that is you watched the movie at 9, right? 9 p.m. Or maybe you had a long day at work, right? I fell asleep watching 300. I love 300, but I was tired that day. So you see comments like that, and you can tell this person isn't coming from an objective point of view. Also, you'd have people saying, there are some statements like, "Oh, this was trash." So my point is, there are too many wannabe critics, and the truth is, most of them do not even identify the whole picture. So you'd say 80% of them would say, "Oh, the story." That's only one out of like the major 7 points, from directing to the visual elements to the story structure to the acting to the plot structure, as well as the theme, and then other things as well. Even production design. So all of that actually makes up the bigger picture for when you critique a movie. But then most people just say, "Oh, in this scene, they closed the window and then the window was still open." And then for that alone, they believe, "Oh yeah, this movie is flawed." And I see it and it upsets me. And I think you mentioned one of those blogs, and I'm not trying to highlight anybody here. But what also even irks me more is the fact that a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people actually lean more towards the negative. And because of that, I actually had to pause and not make many negative remarks. And it's unfortunate. People are going through a lot of things. Like this one hasn't gotten paid their salary. They need a way to bring down someone. The fall of a celebrity, trust me, for a lot of people on social media is actually the biggest thing for them. They love it. So when they bash a movie that's like hyped, the first thing you hear is, "Oh, it's overhyped." I think 80% of them don't even understand the term. But they use it loosely because they believe, "Okay, I'm just trying to express, and that proves that I'm a critic. I'm not easily impressed." No, sa. It's not that you're not easily impressed. You're looking for a reason to bring down the movie when, the truth is, if you give it a chance. Because unfortunately, you go to cinemas, and everybody watching a Nigerian movie, this is their face like, "What do you want? What are they going to do now?" As opposed to trying to give it a chance. And so it's an uphill battle for most Nigerian movies. Now, I say this to say, and I'll be very honest, when I started critiquing, I was harsh. And I'll be honest, the reason I feel I was harsh was because I had, let's call it the power, right? Because I was there and I could basically just say, "Okay, let me bring down this movie." Granted, there were some movies that were really bad, and because I had to pay to watch, I was not happy with the fact that I spent all that money. But it is unfortunate that what people tend to lean more towards, as I said before, is they want that negativity. They want it to just basically make them feel good about themselves. And I didn't want to be a part of it, so I was trying to look for ways. I even started making ways to find maybe I would only talk about movies that I thought were maybe let's 8/10 or so, and then try to give more constructive criticism. Because I know it's necessary for critics to obviously break it down and say, okay, this is what's wrong with it. But then if you have the opportunity, like I said, with working with MTV Base back then, one of the things I did was not only say, okay, this video isn't good, I'd say, how about you go and try and do this, re-edit this, maybe get a feature. And then in some cases, they've brought it back and it's worked. So if we had more constructive criticism for the movies to say, you know what, this is, I don't like this actor, maybe because, or this person's performance, maybe because they didn't have as much time. Hopefully in their next picture, they'll make sure that they are probably on set on time, or maybe the director is given more time to execute. Something more constructive. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Ola. In a second, Dami and Irabo, I want to get into the conversation of how, when film critics talk about a film and, the filmmakers then hear your comments, and let's say for a certain instance, it's not the most pleasant, it's not, what happens after that time becomes a very distasteful, interaction. Right, but before we get into that, Dami, you said something earlier which prompts me to want to ask you this question. You used the analogy of eating at a restaurant, and if the food is bad, you feel like you have a right to speak to it. Can we also talk about how these days every Tom, Dick, and Harry feels like they have a say in commenting on a film? Maybe because microphones are now cheap, and tripods are also very available. Again, I'm not trying to mention anybody's name, but literally some girl that sells amala now feels like she can comment on a film, or because you have a skincare product that has over 1 million. But then let's not talk about these people. I didn't see anybody's name. Right. But I personally feel like all of this also sort of dilutes the culture of film critiquing, and to a large extent, it doesn't give a lot of credence or quality to the guys that are actually doing the work well. What are your thoughts on this?
You should have ended with guys like me doing the work well, because I'm actually doing the work well. I mentioned some few names. I mentioned Cinema Point. There's a guy called Equi Reviews. Who knows that guy? Oh, you don't know Equi Reviews?
If you're here, raise your hand.
Yeah, the guy is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is it for me. Some people, that's their hustle. It's not my hustle. Film critiquing is not my hustle. I don't make money from it. Some people make money from it. And I think I saw Cinema Point at one time advertised for 3K and 5K and all those kind of things. I don't do that. And I've had people reach out to me, filmmakers, people, renowned filmmakers reach out to me just to get my opinion on certain things. Now, I balance my reviews with what I thought could have been done better. Now, I could break it into what went well and what did not go well. I always do that. I'm not a guy to just come and say recommended, then put SIA, or the emojis. I don't do that. I tend to want to help you understand what I thought about the film and why I thought the film could have been better. But on the part of the producers, I think it's just ego, to be honest. I think some producers are just... John Boyega came to Nigeria during last year's Afrif, and he mentioned something. We had this meeting with him. He said, I don't know if he was there. He said that they don't care about Nollywood and Hollywood, and he said that there's this ego thing, and I was surprised that he got to know about it, because we know about it in Nigeria that in the film space there's this ego thing that comes with the producers, the actors. Like, come on, man! I've grossed this number at the box office. You can't tell me nothing, right? You can't tell me my film is bad or my film is good or this or that, and that is the challenge. Some producers are listening because some respond. Some send you DMs back. Oh, I don't think I agree with you, but it's your opinion. And some actually want to know what you think about the film. But some outrightly just feel like it's hate. I remember when I was working at my previous employer, and one particular producer, box office producer, called my boss and was like, your guy said something about my film, and I don't like it. In my head, I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to lie that the film is good? Or you want me to lie that I love this part of the film? I'm not going to do that. And that is what stands me out from every other film critic. I don't, regardless of the person, I respect people a lot. And I have filmmakers that I really cherish because I think that they put some work into their process. But there's some that don't put work into their process. And the ego thing is just a thing in Nollywood. They don't want to listen to you. And if you go to Hollywood, there are a number of them. The number of film critics. I mean, you look at Roger Ebert. When he downs your film, you start thinking, why did I even hold the camera in the first place? You know, I'm not saying that we should replicate that in Nigeria or in Nollywood. What I'm saying is, you need to be that accessible. You need to make some comments that are constructive, and for the producers, you need to listen. I'm not saying you should listen to them and say, okay, because they said you should, instead of Inse, use Nancy. You now use Nancy. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should listen to, because in the midst of that garbage that you think, there's one thing that you could probably pick from it, and that could change the entire process or the entire narrative of the film. So yeah, I mean that's my take really.
Right. I think that outside of the fact that all four of us are absolute lovers of film, there's also something else that we share in common, and that's the fact that we have some experience on radio. And I can say this for a fact that we tend to have this dilemma. Well, I don't know that Irabo does, because to a large extent I know how he tends to manage these relationships with people. But I do know that, for example, with hosting the show that I host a radio show called MTSS. It's movies, theme songs, and soundtracks every Saturday on Inspiration FM. And I know that these interactions with producers also tend to become funny sometimes when, personally, if I see a film that I don't like, right, I might not bash it, but you would tell from how I speak about it, if I invite you on the show, that, I'm just being very neutral. I had a guest one time, on the show. I wanted to talk about the film that was now in cinemas. I just felt really guilty thinking, if I asked someone to see this film, I worry about how this individual would see me right after. And what I did essentially was just talk about this person's history in acting, and I didn't talk about the movie at all, because I felt like I also owed them something, giving them that platform. But, I want to ask all three of you this question. And I feel like even if we speak to just this one thing and we're done, then I believe that this panel will have been a very valuable one. In the first half of this year, Sinners, Ryan Coogler's new film, came out. And I think I remember the very first day it came out, yeah, it had about 99% score on Rotten Tomatoes, right? Similarly, in the first half of last year, when Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black came out, it was 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. One could almost assume that using just these two metrics, because both films were actually quite successful at the end of the day, one would almost assume that people would eventually go see your film either ways, right? Which then brings us back to the conversation. Could it be that filmmakers are just a lot more, look, I'll say it's petty, when film critics say, look, this was good, this wasn't good? Can we focus on the quality of the work that you're putting out, and if the people actually go to watch it, what that work does for their psyche? What would you say is a better response, Irabo, from filmmakers when they hear what a critic says about their film? How should they receive that better? What do you think is a better posture that could potentially move the industry forward?
I feel, I'll take it from this angle. I feel anybody who is looking to go into movie making, yeah, maybe you're probably doing it because you saw somebody and you thought, oh, I can do this. Or maybe you're looking to make profit. Or maybe you need notoriety. Maybe you saw Mo Abudu and you're like, wow, I just want this kind of attention. But what I would say to that is, just as any other vocation, you require capacity building, you require research. So I feel filmmakers, in this sense, since that's what we're talking about, should try to explore the terrain, understand the business, just try and know what genre, works at a particular month, know the actors you need to use, know the distributors you need to use. Like it's a science and an art at the same time. So I feel they need to start from there so that when you're having critics voice an opinion, there's certain people that if Shola is going to say something, of course I'm listening. If you are saying something, I tune into your show like clockwork, Dami as well and everything. So I'm watching because I know these guys understand what it is. So if you're a movie maker, I feel once you're trying to do that research of the industry, you need to know the players in respective places. Like if you want to be, Bjorn Steven wants to shoot a film now, she knows that she might call Captain Degsy or somebody else, Sholanke or somebody. If you want to direct, if she doesn't want to direct, she probably wants to be an EP, she'll probably call Kayade, depending on the genre. So it's not, they need to equip themselves with knowledge, of the industry so that if I'm going to say something, you are going to say something. They should understand it's coming from a place of love for the industry, for the country, you know, because if you think about it, why don't we even have like a budget annually of $200 million, $250 million, where it's a Nigerian project where everybody is all hands on deck, movie critics, PR guys, actors, actresses, the government, like it's like a project. So that kind of thing, now everybody is now involved. So I think stuff like that would even, open the way for film producers that are going to be releasing film on, YouTube or, Canva or wherever, where if we're saying we don't think this works for Oscar selection, it's not because, we're waking up and we're just trying to kill you or be wicked. It's because we've seen it, we're experts. If we're looking for a storyteller now, we look at me Biodun to write because she's a great writer. She has won an AMVCA for, like, we know this. You get what I'm saying? So you just need to know all these things and not be emotional, not be pet, like Sean and Damia pointed out. So I feel that they need to first, like I said earlier, educate themselves. So it's not that Nigerian mentality of, if you're telling me something, it means you're hating. It means, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I feel also, we need to attack it from the infant stages, from our institutions, from education, so that the hierarchical system, having people take over and everything, understand all those little nuances. So that's what I feel that, filmmakers need to understand. I will never stop talking about films that are good or bad. I will tell you to your face, like, I don't think this was solid, for X, Y, Z. I will still have you on my show. And we'll chop it up, but I'll tell you to your face. You will not hear it behind. You understand my point? So that's how I handle my own. And, yeah.
Right, Dami, do you have a thought?
Right. So first is filmmakers make films for different reasons, right? So I know that even the critiquing is not. Some people are like, bro, you're not my audience, bro. So you just, I'm more, when I critique films, it's more of quality, So when I see some movies at the cinemas, I know you shouldn't be here, but I know because the audience at the cinemas love to see those kind of films. So there are a lot of ridiculous films at the cinemas, but yeah, the cinemas are taking it in because the audience love to see it. I get it. So my critiquing most times, even though I touch on your films, is not mostly for you. I had a conversation with Mr. Kenna Amparo some while back, and it made me understand that you need to understand the idea behind why people make certain kind of films. Now you have to understand the audience in Nigeria. So when I critique films, it's not to basically say that, this or that. It's just to let you know that there's a way film should be made, and it's the same across the world. It's not different in Nigeria. The elements of filmmaking or critiquing a film is the same everywhere. It's not different here. So if you want to make a film, make a film. If you don't want to make a film, if you want to do a skit, do a skit. So there's a thin line between a skit and a film. And we sort of take skits to cinemas these days, and it's just unfortunate. And, but I mean, final words is to everyone that want to make a film, all the best to you. I've seen young filmmakers, good films, by young people that are not known, but they don't get a chance to even get a mainstream. They don't get a chance to, people don't get to see them. And the very popular ones, the big ones who have the connect, who have the line, they just, push, this very nice cartoonish picture in our face. I mean, it's all good. And before I go, I must say this, right? And I'm not saying this because Biodun Stephen is here. If you've seen her films, you know. She's the queen of drama in Nollywood, and I said it. I like drama genre. Nobody does it better. And I'm not trying to cap. And if you follow me on IG, you know I'm very strict with my words. When she did the film one time, I did not agree with the film. I sent it to her. She said, I did not agree with you. I'm like, Mama, yes, I know, but I'll still put it out. But she's good at it. And if you want to do film, you need to follow the right people. I don't want to mention some names. I'm really hungry to mention names because I like to mention names, but I don't want to mention names.
Yeah.
As well.
Just touching on something you said earlier, I was in a conversation with somebody and they talked about how, once upon a time there used to be 3 types of films. There's short films, feature films, and series, right? But these days there's now short films, feature films, series, skits, and extended skits. But in with the brevity of time that we now have, and I just want to throw this to all 3 of you, if we can just compact everything that we want to say. I don't know if we have the opportunity of asking maybe 1 or 2 questions, but I'll start with you, Shala. The theme of the conversation is amplifying Nollywood voices, right? how can film critics and even filmmakers collaborate going forward to put out quality products? Because we now know that the world is looking to Nollywood, whether collaborating or even just story-wise. Look, I beg to say that a lot of the stories that we see from Hollywood today, are almost copies of what we see here, but we don't even realize it. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine was going to make a film, and at the script reading stage, he invited me to come. And I appreciated his intentionality, because what then happened was we read the script together. He went back, took another 6 months to write it all over again, and by the time they made the film, we saw the input of what we all discussed at the table. And I thought that that was just really powerful, because it showed me this person appreciated, and I wasn't the only one in the room, appreciated the feedback of these people that also appreciate cinema, and they wanted to bring that into, the script and story. So Shola, tell me, how do you think that going forward, film producers, filmmakers can indeed collaborate with film critics, especially because you've also produced the film yourself? How can we come together to ensure that we make quality stuff going forward, that the culture would appreciate, that we would appreciate, and even the folks outside of here that look at what we're doing can also appreciate?
So not to be dramatic, but I think it's just going to be one word: ego. That's it. If you let go, if people can collaborate, but first of all, let go of their ego, a lot of producers, critics, and so on, I'm very sure we'll actually move forward. But there's a lot of ego. I'm on a couple of WhatsApp groups with filmmakers and producers, and you can just see it's just spread with so much ego. And I think John Boyega actually mentioned something once, and I think he could say it boldly because he's not in this industry. But he actually mentioned how there are a lot of filmmakers who feel like they know it, like they have arrived already, and even for actors as well, and they don't need any new way to. And anytime you bring that up or try to address that, there's always this impression of, no, don't worry, this is how it works here. So if we can get rid of our ego, and also at the same time be willing to collaborate, but ego first, because trust me, we're a proud nation.
Right.
I'm very sure we will make headway.
All right, really quickly, Dami.
Yeah, same thing. Just keep your ego. If you want to do work, and listen to what these people are saying. Sometimes they're not playing; they're just being honest. And sometimes some of them are playing, like Cinema Pointer, Echo Reviews, that to that. Or I could go and mention names.
Irabo.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, yeah, you. I also have to add the fact that people need to know why they are in the space. You need to identify it. So if you're looking to make money, you have to go a certain route. If you're looking to, get notoriety, you have to go a certain route. So yes, aside ego, you need to know why you're there. I need to find out the area in that why you're there. So are you better as a screenwriter? Are you better as an actor? Are you better as a producer? Sometimes you expect someone to just be an EP. Don't involve yourself. So yeah, they need to understand that, as well as the ego for sure.
Can I please ask that we appreciate this, man? It's a thankless job what they do, and just to sit down and of course share this conversation also has been a highlight for me. Can I please again ask that we appreciate them? Please put your hands together for Irabo Kosun, Dami Dawson, and of course Shola Thompson. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you. Cheers.
Thank you so much for that incredible insight and the function. So we'll have questions, guys, please. Okay, so I know some of us are dying with questions, so we'll have just 10 minutes for the questions. Okay, yes, please. Can we go? Is the mic there? Someone get a mic across.
Let's hope Cinema Pointer is not in the audience.
Thank you so much. My name is Claude from Transperfect Media. My question is about what you did mention earlier. So we have a lot of negative, film critics, and then you need to become a bit more constructive. But we know there's a bit of a prevalent negative kind of sentiment, in the country and all of that. So how do you migrate from being a very negative, film critic to a constructive without losing the essence of being a real film critic who wants to see the movie being elevated, the movie moving forward? So how do you do that? How do you do that migration? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would say, first of all, if you can, one, be honest with yourself as to one of the reasons you are critiquing the movie in the first place. And then two, if you're looking to be honest, or rather, if you're looking not for the reach, because I assure you, and I checked it, if I rate a movie terribly and I bash it, like I say, it's 2 over 10, this was the worst movie I ever saw, I would have 900 likes or 10,000 likes. But then if I say, look, this movie was actually really good, this happened and that happened, then the engagement wouldn't be as much. So if you're going to migrate, I would say personally, it's important for you to, one, be honest with yourself and also think of the greater good. The greater good is to move the industry forward. Unfortunately, we find ourselves one step forward, two steps back, and it's been going on for too long. If you really want the industry to go forward, I assure you, it'll be easier for you to actually migrate.
And if I may just add something to that, I always say about commenting on film that you can't hide quality for too long, right? Even if you do put out something that's really good and you don't get a lot of people talking about it at the time, I can assure you that in a couple of months, years, after a short while, and I emphasis on short while, it would eventually catch on. The right people, and that's the key thing, the right people will notice it and talk about it. You just have to be okay with filtering the noise. Yes, a ton of people might say a ton of things, and then it will become popular. But you also have to reconcile that, it's the voices of certain people that matter to me, and these are the ones that I'm going to listen to, not necessarily the ones that point every other day. But yeah.
So the elements are simple, right? Performances, settings, cinematography, the music and the score, the editing, so and so forth. So if you're looking for a good critic would ensure that these elements are covered in his review. So if you're someone that's just trying to summarize everything into one and focusing majorly on the story, like Shola said, then that person probably don't have a lot to say about the film. And like I said, some people, it's a hustle for them. So the more noise they make about it not being good.
Don't say anybody's name. Let your boss speak.
So I'll just be short. Typically, I try to have almost every filmmaker because I want to understand where they come from. So when I watch a movie, I try to dissect it in different ways. So I look at your experience, in the film industry. So I'll give you an example. There's a movie on Netflix, Yahoo Plus. Their budget was around 3 to 6 million naira. But if you watch that film, from a third eye and you're being objective, you would understand that these guys didn't have the resources to create this film, but they were just creative enough to do it. But if you see some established people in the industry do that type of film, that type of way, I would have a problem with it. So, because you'd expect that they would know what to do, they would expect to do certain scenes certain ways. So I would be very objective about it. So that my own way just transcends like that. So if I see somebody, I know that, you didn't have the experience or you didn't have the resources, I would be a bit lenient, but give you, some pointers to say, okay, do like this, or meet certain people. In fact, sometimes I do interviews where I bring somebody who is not experienced and I bring somebody who is experienced, and, they just meet each other and learn from each other. So that's how
Are you sure you don't want to mention names? Because of these people, the ones.
Okay, so
the big ones that are.
Okay, so for example.
That we just know.
All right, so for example, RMD is guilty of this in a way. And I say this very respectfully. RMD is not supposed to be shooting a Western to put it in cinema in Nigeria this time of the year. RMD is not collaborative with other people in the industry. That is why he wouldn't really get that much support from them when it comes to promoting his film. So he's a great actor. He's an icon. But I don't think he understands the back end of film. Just like you have Michael Jordan, who is the greatest of all time, but he was, I would say, a shitty GM. He didn't know how to recruit. He just didn't understand, the business of basketball. That's why he sold his club. So RMD needs to be humble enough to seek help. Things like that. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Okay, so any more questions? Okay, wow. So we'll have 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So anyone closer to the mic can...
Okay, good morning, everyone. Yes, so I would just like to ask briefly. For a couple of years now, we've realized that, or we've discovered that some filmmakers actually use film critiquing as PR, one of their PR stunts. I've seen marketing budgets where film critic is being added to it. So now, my question will be, how do you identify who is actually doing good film critic, not one who is actually, because now, I don't want to call names, but we've seen some films that they did bad critic for, and it got everybody to watch it at the end of the day. And there are some that, were eventually not so good, and there were some who were actually good, some films. So how do you identify, and how do you, as a creative, how do you work around such?
All right. Let me,
Who is authentic?
Let
Really,
me
that's-
help you out with this one. So I've been approached before to critique a film. I was part of a campaign for a movie, and I told them, I mean, thank you for identifying me. However, your money would not change my mind, and it did not come back, and it's okay, right? Because I would not collect money for this. I'm not. But if you approach me, I'll tell you outrightly that no matter how much you pay, I'm sorry, I cannot, because people come to me because they feel like Dami would say the truth about this film. Now, if money starts to come in, then it starts to dilute the process. Then you start to say that, oh, yeah, it was okay for the monkey to actually fly and turn to a woman being, or for the snake to steal the money. Then it makes sense, do that kind of thing. So I'm not going to do that, you understand? So they can reach out to other people and maybe collect their money and do that. And maybe bad PR works, some sort, for films. Because when you say a film is bad, that's when Nigerians want to watch it. If you go and check cinema, when cinema point I say shit, you say, because of this shit, I'll go and watch the film. That's a different line. I don't know how that works with PR or marketing, but I just told you how it works with me.
Okay, thank you so much, Dami. Any more questions? Yes, please. Yeah, I don't have a mic, so just
Okay, hi, my name is Jessie. My question was in part answered by you personally, but the question is, at what stage should a filmmaker, or if at all, should a filmmaker be concerned about getting a critic's eyes on their films? And especially, I'm a filmmaker that makes teen, young adult content. Is that something that, obviously it's film regardless of the audience, but is that something that I should seek? But you had already said that, a good film will always get noticed. So, just comments on that, please.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
Okay, Rebel, please go.
I think it's from inception. Once you have that idea, who has seen Devil is a Liar? And a law firm came out and was like trying to give advice in a very constructive way. So you guys went off with this. So I feel from your idea, you now need to know if it's a medical drama or whatever, you need to start meeting doctors. Yes, meet film critics so that they can kind of give you the constructive angle as to how maybe you should, direct, produce, do your production design or something, Film critics can also be publicists as well, So you need to understand what you want to do first. Then try to meet people that are experts in those things so that you can try to get the story as best as possible. Flight 93, for example, you can see the gaping holes there. You can understand that, yes, it was done by a very renowned production company, but it doesn't mean that they too can't make mistakes. So that's why Shola mentioned, Dami also mentioned ego. You have to drop your ego outside, just leave it, because it's not about you. It's not about you. Just as critics too, we're not critiquing because we're trying to be noticeable or whatever. We are trying to push Nollywood. Everybody keeps saying African stories, African stories. These African stories, we want it to be the best so that people can respect us outside. That's what it is about.
One line, please. At the end of the day, when we say these things, right, the conversation is not so much we absolutely need you to be 100% or 1,000% perfect. But can we at least, just like you use the phrase gaping holes, can we at least do our best to ensure that it's near perfection? Can we at least do our best to ensure that when somebody sees it, they are not misinformed or miseducated? Because we tend to forget something. Film is not just a business. It's not just a hobby. It's not just a job. It's art, right? It's lifestyle. There's so much you can influence with the film, right? He talked about how he speaks this way just based on the number of films that he had seen. It's quite the story for me also, because I was homeschooled growing up, and someone had asked me in my teenage years, how come you speak like this? And I couldn't explain it. It was until later I realized it was really because I would just watch movies and listen to radio. So as much as possible, like Irabo had said, the primary stage is at the scripting. Do as much research as you can, speak to as many people as you can, and at that point when you feel like you're really close to when you're good to go, then you can actually go produce. I do think that, in certain instances also, during pre-production and post, you would also need certain people to comment. But, primarily, let's start from, pre-production.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, if you're just coming in, you can please follow the agenda at nifssummit.com. The Wi-Fi info is there. Please check your phone and get the agenda, please. The next session is by the Accelerate Group, and I think it's made up of some incredible storytellers and movie minded who will be speaking to us about the Accelerate Group. So from what I heard, I think they've done like 7 projects which they've been releasing, and I think the last one has just been released. So we look forward to hearing from them on what they've done and what to expect. And for this session, please, can we have this Accelerate team to please come forward, starting with Colade Man. Colade is a storyteller, and I think he has, is that a nickname? Is that man? Yes, please come forward. Guys, encourage him as he comes forward. We'll have Tega Obahao. We'll have Lovett Ogweni. There's Samuel Ajirebi Olashinde. Please pardon me if I murder your name. There's Ashimudua Odiachi. We'll have Ike Osaka. We'll have Toby Loba Rotipin. And this session will be moderated by the very popular Jite. Can we please, Jite is the head of Accelerate Agency. Can we please encourage them as they come forward? Okay. I think, Jite, can you come forward and stand here, please? Thank you. I think this is 30 minutes. Your timer is there. And then, is there a question and answer here? No, there's not. That's if you have time, innit?
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We know it's not easy, Lagos traffic and Lagos life. But basically, right now, we're showing some of the short films. These are just the trailers. You can have a quick look. We're also working with NIFS. You can watch the actual short films at the different locations. So dig into the brochure and find out when each of them are. So my name is Jise Overai. I'm head of the Accelerate Agency. I'm sure many of you have heard of Accelerate TV. If you haven't, I'm sure you've heard of Visa on Arrival. That's us. And we also have been working to empower, educate, and entertain the youth of Nigeria. So we created a project called the Filmmaker Project. And within the Filmmaker Project, we ask people to come and participate and learn from industry leaders, experts in the field. And during the Filmmaker Project, not only are they mentored, not only are they taught, some people have done other film projects, some people are coming from banks. Everybody comes to the Filmmaker Project and then they propose their short film. And last year, the last edition we had 7 amazing people who came together and gave us 7 amazing short films. So this year, we've been releasing them on our YouTube channel for the Accelerate Filmmaker Project Summer 7, and it's been going really well. We don't have a lot of time, so I think I'll just go into each of you introduce yourself and give us a little one-liner about your film, and then we'll go into questions.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rosepin Tobilova, and the title of my film is Purgatory. It's basically about fighting for your life and looking for healing.
Hello. Hi, my name is Colade Man. I'm a filmmaker, a film director. Title of my short film is Ovisa. It's the story of a young Nigerian lady trying to join our boyfriend overseas, and of course for better opportunity. But then she was faced with multiple rejection and decided to, find a shortcut, find a way out of it by posing as a police officer to get her way through. Yeah.
Mike. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Samuel Olaoluwa Olasende. I'm a filmmaker, I'm an actor and writer. And my short film, the title of my short film is Egbeji. It's a Yoruba epic short film that explores the theme of power. And of course, it tells us how, power could cloud reasoning when one is aggrieved. Okay, so it tells one to, calm down, not to be aggrieved to the point of letting power cloud one's reasoning. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashimedwa Odiachi. I'm a film director and video editor. The name of my film, sorry, is Mofair. It's an urban fantasy. It's a parable, basically showing gritty Lagos with magic and fantasy, and it's really about making wise decisions, informed choices, and the dangers of greed. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tega Obaho. I'm a film director and an actor. The title of my short film is Nightmare. Nightmare is a short film that explores the intertwining nature of dreams and reality and how one influences the other. It follows the life of a young man, Deji, a pastor's son, who does have sex in his dream, and how his father responded to the whole. I think you just have to see the film so you understand it. It's a bit complicated, but you get it when you watch it. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Loveth Ogbene. I'm an actor and film producer, director. And the title of my short film is The Boy from the Window. The Boy from the Window is a short film on parental negligence, on child abuse. Because oftentimes, children silently suffer in their homes, in their parental homes where they are meant to be safe. And The Boy from the Window was a means of which I could tell the story of children who, despite being in their parents' environments and in the society, they have to suffer silently and carry on the scars for life. So I am looking forward, and I hope that you really get to watch The Boy from the Window. Trust me, it's something that you should see. It's on YouTube, and you can come to Film House, I think tomorrow, Thursday. You can get to watch it too. So yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ike Osoka, and the name of my film is Miyidima. Miyidima is a Fulani phrase that means I love you. Short story made shorter. A southern Nigerian boy goes to a Fulani village to work and sees a Fulani girl, falls in love with her, but he has to prove his love by going through their Sharo ritual to prove that he's worth her love. And it ends when you see it.
Awesome. Okay, so as you can see, we have 7 amazing filmmakers, 7 amazing films. And like they mentioned, if you want to catch it, make sure you go to Film House at the Palms on Thursday. Yeah, so look at the review to make sure you look at the brochure to make sure you get the times right, because these films are really, really good. I've watched all of them multiple times, and I've been impressed with these guys working with us, trying to promote them and push them out. So I think the first thing I want to just dig into is, I think we can answer randomly, whoever wants to answer first. Looking back, what was the most single valuable thing that you feel like you got from the Accelerate Filmmaker Project? I mean, there were the skills, is it the network? Did it help build confidence? Because not all of you are beginners. Some people are further down the line than others. But yeah, what was that one thing that stands out the most for you from the Filmmaker Project?
For me, as for me, it's the access we were given to our mentors, people that you would normally not be able to access, and through that mentorship program, I find myself seeing the WhatsApp status of big producers that I only saw from a distance before then, and it's a big blessing. Yeah.
For me, I would say it's the network, not just with the filmmakers at the top, but amongst independent filmmakers like myself. And since the project, we've all gone on to collaborate and make other projects. So I think the network is something that is very valuable for me.
Yeah, So Kathy, I think your set, there were about 50. There were 50 of you, and you guys were the ones that came out with the films, but I'm sure you worked with the others while making your films. So it's building the network, it's community. That's one thing I've noticed about the film industry. Networking is the most important thing, because you could meet somebody today that is going to lend you a camera, and then tomorrow they're going to find an uncle that's going to sponsor your film. So always talk, always network, always build. Sorry, anyone else want to add to the... Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I would add to what the bot said. I would say confidence, because I mean, skills can be learned, network can be built, but confidence as a filmmaker to own your own voice. I wouldn't have believed that I would be able to put out the bot, because me looking at the film, you would just feel like, it's not really something, it's something from the tiniest part of society. And Nigerians, oftentimes, we always want to put out comment, but the Accelerate Filmmakers Project gave me the confidence to own my own voice as a filmmaker.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, so looking at Access Bank support as they help fuel the Accelerate Filmmaker Project from the beginning, how has that backing impacted your ability to tell these stories?
Okay, for me, it's deeply encouraging, filmmaking is not just about cameras and lights. It's about your voice. It's about the voice. It's about perspective. It's about telling stories that matter. And then having a major, brand like Access Bank, putting its weight on projects like AFMP to be able to bring out stories like mine, like Ovisa, and of course the rest of the stories. It sends one clear message that our story matters, our stories have value, and our stories are worthy of investment. So it's very, very encouraging if you'd ask me. We live in a society where if opportunity seems scarce, right? And then as a young filmmaker, it's a lot, Say, for example, I had Femi Branch, on my film. Ordinarily, me seated here, I ordinarily won't be able to have that weight on my own self, to pull for a short film at that. And Femi Branch was doing House of God at the time. He was. So yeah, it's really encouraging for me. If I have the chance to say thank you again to Access Bank, this is me saying thank you.
Well, I think all the English my friend was trying to say was that Access did two things in bearing their name, okay? Access gave us access to actual production power. Because, say in my case when I filmed Egbeji, I had to leave Lagos, took about a team of 24 people, all the way to Oyo to film. Now, ordinarily, I could not have done that on my purse. But Access gave us access to the fund. Now, that's the first one. The second thing they did is Access gave us access to people that ordinarily, even our money, could not have opened the door to their tables. I mean, we were mentored by a set of people who we looked, we look at them. So, you know that in your years of practice, even if you keep practicing, it will take you some years to be able to work with this person. I mean, imagine a Kemi Adetiba coming to you, because I believe it's a very personal encounter to every one of us. And then she was with us for 7 hours, teaching and sweating out. How many years of work would we do to bring her to come and be teaching us that way? But it was a very passionate teaching. You think it's, all these home lesson teachers. It was that experience. It was really that intense. She taught so much, she was panting. That could have been done by some top tier level of access. So yeah, Access Bank did both. So it was a lot of access from Access Bank.
Yeah. All right. So I also would like to add to what they said. The access also that it gives to us. a lot of creatives, maybe in the room, could also testify to this. If you're, especially when you're pitching a short film, the very first question that has been asked to you is, okay, so what are we trying to sell? But at the end of this class, that exactly wasn't the question that was told. A lot of us here were telling stories that are not necessarily commercial, especially the fact that we're making short films. So it wasn't about what we're trying to sell with the short films. It was more about what we're able to do or the kind of stories that we're able to tell. And also, even aside from the budgets that we are giving, like we were given equipment and access to equipment, which was very much aside from the money we were given to spend. So it was, especially us as indie filmmakers, I don't think anybody will give you that kind of, yeah. So it was a lot for a short film. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let's dig into quick questions about the films themselves. So Ike, what made you think about the whole Shiro competition element to add to your film? Sorry, Sharo. Sorry, explain if you could explain it as well.
Thank you, Sharo. Okay, first of all, I'm an Igbo boy from Abia State, and but you know, when we're asked to create our stories, the first thing that came to my mind is one of the most painful parts of my, painful parts of my growing up is that I regret not being able to speak my language as an Igbo boy, and that you can't speak Igbo. Igbo people they're very angry when you cannot speak Igbo. So, and I'm very driven to cultural stories and whatever the culture is, whether it's Yoruba, Hausa. I thought I've had this, I've heard about the story of the Fulani people, the Sharo festival and stuff before. And I thought about, okay, I want to tell a love story about that. And, when you're thinking about an idea, it's sweet to think about it. But after I pitched it and it was approved, and I started looking for locations, I realized that I couldn't shoot it anywhere in the West. Because even the mud houses in the West don't look like Fulani houses. So, I had to, I was driven by the need to sell this culture. Because even at the pitch table, our mentors were saying they didn't even know about the festival. That drove me to, I must see it through to the end, And I actually went to shoot in Zaria, and with a little fight from the administration, like, no, we can't go to Zaria. But I begged and I begged, and I needed to be, my producer told me that, Ike, there's something about shooting, a cultural story on the soil it was made for. And, when we went to Zaria, it was during the riots there was a riot around. There was a protest, last year, and it was just so scary. But the drive to sell our culture so that people don't walk around not knowing that these things happen, whether you are from the north or from the south, from the east, from the west, we are all connected somehow. And if we don't know, if you are looking at somebody, a Fulani person, you don't know, you cannot see through their culture. You'll be able to identify with them. And love is something that binds us all. No matter the culture you are. So what drove me is the need to sell our culture to ourselves and to the international community. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm thinking, let's talk about Officer Quality. It's a comedy. It's a really good movie. All the films are great, but since the film looks at desperation, identity, consequences, what inspired the central story about this woman trying to get to her husband or boyfriend and finding the most ridiculous way to solve the issue?
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. All right. So I've always, for any story I tell, I always want to try as much as possible to pass a message. Regardless of what genre, I decide to, tell the story through. So, observing the everyday realities of young Nigerians, how a lot of, when the society where the desire to go abroad, for a better opportunity is so strong. And it's so strong that people sometimes, young Nigerians sometimes, look around to do unthinkable things, just to make sure they get ahead and get to where they need to get to, right? Uh, if you and why desperation? Why you sorry you asked if uh you said sorry why she had to identity. Yeah, thank you. That's what I was trying to get. Yeah, so identity. I had to make the character do some sort of impersonation because that is one of the natural human response to desperation. When people are desperate, they start thinking of disguise. They start thinking of how they can bend the rules, shortcuts, and all of those things. So I wanted to tell all of these stories because they were everyday realities in Nigeria. Because I've heard unthinkable stories, from colleagues and some friends, right? So I want to tell all these stories without making it seem tragic. As well, I was in a competition at the time because like it was 50 of us, and when people are pitching films, they're always very serious. It's always tragic, and I thought about okay, why not find a way to pass this message in a light-hearted way, such that as you are enjoying the film, you begin to reflect as well that regardless of how short you want to make your journey is, just think about the consequences. That's
Thank you.
about
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true. Okay, so Ashimudwa, looking at the fact that you had people like Shehu Ajayi and the cast who really carried the story with great intensity, what was your biggest directorial challenge working with these people?
Okay, so in terms of the actors, that's probably one of the easiest things I had to do. I've studied acting myself. I'm an actor also, so I find directing people or actors or creating emotion in a story is it comes easily, but there's also this place where you're working with some of the most fantastic people ever. I'm sorry, Sharon Wajai is just a beautiful actor. there's a lot of I can say yes, do this or do that, or feel this or feel that, but it comes innately from him, and he really portrayed that character so well. The character of Suru in Mofe is he's a tout, he's a street guy, he's just a about and sorry. And that's not who Shen Ajay is at all. But someone just passed and I was watching the film and someone passed and was like it was just an outside scene and I was like, "Ah, who's that guy? Why is it like that?" So that was immediately I just knew that yeah, like this even without him speaking, he could still show that. Same with the characters because we have like a genie in the movie. And when I spoke to Timmy Ojeola, who plays the genie, it was more of a, oh, okay, this is what we want to do. But he also came up with his own ideas as well. Like there's a certain way he wanted to sound so he could feel more like that character. And I thought it was a great idea and we went with it. So it's very, very collaborative. I would say the biggest challenge working was being on the streets generally, because this story was kind of like a love letter to Surulere. All the streets in the film are streets I've lived in. Everywhere, even some of the houses we use, it's a whole throwback to like my past if you watch it. So I thought just showing that as real as it can be was so important. But you know how it is when you're shooting on the streets, especially the streets of Surulere. So yeah, we had to do a lot. There were many action beaters, but we survived. We survived and we made the film. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So our time is pretty much running out. I don't know if you guys have any questions or you want me to keep going for the next. Any questions for our young filmmakers who are going to be the stars of tomorrow?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Well done, guys. I saw most of the short films, and I have a question for Samuel. You made a Beji. What are your plans for that short film? Are you trying to make it into a feature? Because I know it has the potential to be one of like the biggest and best films that's come out of Nigeria. What are you going to do with that film? Please make a feature.
Well, Egbeji started out of the journey of having access. So if Egbeji has further access, why not? It will do many more. It will do many more things. Thank you.
Sorry, if I may, I also think, like for most of us, we kind of, like even Mofe, we started as a, and then we like squeezed it down into a short film. So I think even for all of us, like all the films could definitely be seen as like features. They're not all shorts. There's a world of stories. In each of the films, the worlds are so distinct. They're so different, and they could be expanded in amazing ways.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, one more question.
Hi. My question: how did the program help you to shape your voice of storytelling or your style of storytelling?
So he mentioned the 7-hour class with Kemi Adetiba, right? That was nothing short of life changing. I would say out of everybody we got to speak to, from like heads of festivals, social media, the macaroni was there, a bunch of different people. I've gotten so many different perspectives as to how I want to approach my filmmaking. But what I would say this influenced the most, because every time I look at Mofe, there was a time I would be like, will I be able to make a film that, you know, almost everyone can relate to, or be like, yeah, this, we love this generally as Nigerians. I've been told, this is not me saying, but I've been told that, oh, okay, I don't think these ideas you're having are ideas that Nigerians would like. Even when we got to Accelerate, before making Mofe, we came up with the story the night before our pitch, because I was already told, oh, the story you're going to pitch is not gonna work. So I made my pitch deck like the morning of the pitch. So it kind of influenced me in a way of thinking more about my audience, even though I'm not factoring them in the sense of like, oh, I'm making this film for you, but I'm still factoring them in terms of like, somebody is going to watch this film at the end of the day, and it's Nigerians, at least that this film that I made is Nigerian. It's a Nigerian film, and I want Nigerians to watch it and love it. So that particularly has influenced the way I think. I watched it and I was like, this is probably the most commercial thing I've ever made, and it was a good thing. It was a good thing.
Awesome. Okay, so I think we have 5 minutes left, so let's take one more question.
Okay, I have a question for Love It. I want to know, what was your experience like playing the lead role in The Boy from the Window, and also directing the movie and the film, The Boy from the Window? How do you navigate the experience of directing and always making sure that your character is always on check? Thank you very much.
Other question. Yeah, thank you very much. So, The Boy from the Window is heavy on emotion. For those who have seen it, please, I want you guys to see The Boy from the Window. And I carried on 4 hours. I was the writer, the producer, the director, and also the lead role. And truthfully speaking, it wouldn't have been possible without the network that I had from Accelerate. Pretty much 90% of the crew members were from Accelerate Filmmakers Project, my colleagues, and the Accelerate Filmmakers crew who works for them. So it truly was not easy, but they understood my vision. Shooting The Boy from the Window was very hectic because we were shooting from 2 separate houses at the exact same time. We were shooting from one building, an upstairs window, to another building. Mind you, these houses were not very close. So I was shooting at the same time from one window to the other window. I remember when we were shooting and some of the Accelerate Filmmakers workers were like, Love It, this is the cinema film. What is this? Because we had to build a lot, and it was, oh, I bless the name of the Lord. At some point, I cried, I broke down because I'm trying to be sure that what they are filming is exactly what's in my head. But then again, I had a co in person of Adebisi, and he carried on my vision like his own. I'm so grateful to him. And at the end of the day, the boy from the window came out even more than I expected. Thank you, Accelerate. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Just to add to what she said, because I was also in the same position, directing, writing, producing, and also playing the lead character in my film. What helped me manage the whole production was that I did a lot of work in my pre-production. I ensured that I was 80% ready in pre-production. So when I was on set, and I had already I got my crew into my vision. They understood what I was going to do on set. So aside preparation, I also prepared for my character. I knew my character very well. I became my character before I got on set. So when we were filming, it was easy for me to jump out of G to direct and come back to G without losing who Deji is. It was a lot of it was a lot of tension because at some point we had some issues during the production. We couldn't film for a whole day and all of that. But because I was already ready for the worst, I was able to manage the tension, and I knew I was the driving force of that production. If I break, everybody break. You understand? So I had to just be strong, and I think what really helped in general was just that I had prepared enough in my pre-production, so the production just went on smoothly. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. We can have the questions after. Just come walk right up to them. We need these guys. This is their time. It's their time to shine. And we need you guys to give a huge round of applause for the Accelerate Summer 7.
Thank you so much, Jite. And can we please give the Accelerate team a hand of applause for the access, for the opportunity. Pictures, please. Yeah, please. Thank you. And so you can actually get to see all the action and everything they'll be talking about on Thursday. I think the movies are showing on Thursday at Film House The Palms. So please make sure you come to actually see what they're talking about. Get ready for our next session. This is an industry conversation, so it's going to be a long one, and there'll be question and answer. It will be for 45 minutes, and then we'll have an extra 15 minutes for questions and answers. I think Chin is running late, but if she's here, can she please come forward? We have the very bearded Miss B, as I fondly call her. She's a producer, she's a writer, and she's a director of Shutter Speed. I'm sure you'd have seen her project on YouTube, on cinema as well. Can we please give her a hand of applause as she comes forward? We have Hamsha Diane Yahuja. Hope I haven't murdered your name. Please pardon me. She's the producer and director of Namatse Wahala, who was in that movie, the Indian/Nollywood movie. Can she please come forward if she's here? And a hand of applause for her, please. Thank you. We have a very beautiful Jilla Ibrahim. She's an actress and she's a filmmaker and president of the WIFT Ghana. So can she please come forward? And then my very own good friend, Anita Edwards, and she's the founder and CEO of Track Nation. Anita, please come forward. TWS. Anita, where are you? Please, a hand of applause for them as they come forward. This session will be moderated by Kachi Ofia. She's the founder, Agia, and she's a journalist at Arise TV. Can you please come forward, Kachi? Thank you. Please encourage them, please. So they have a lot to say, so I would say, please keep your questions. And then the timer is there, 45 minutes, and then we'll have 15 minutes for question and answers. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, so before we begin, I would like every one of us to do something, including my beautiful panelists who have been introduced. I would like everyone to repeat after me. This is the best time to be a creative. And the best time to be a creative is now. Thank you very much. A round of applause for yourselves. So I will officially begin by saying that changing business narratives is a very pivotal conversation. Very recently in Nigeria, as I'm sure a lot of people would agree with, we saw the rebasing of our GDP. And one of the sectors that contributed to this rebasing was the creative economy. But now as creatives, as private sector individuals, every single person in this panel has contributed to that creative economy. So please, can we give them a round of applause? My first question, and I'm just going to take it person by person, and please feel free, express yourselves, and let's just give each person an opportunity to speak. Thank you very much. I'm going to begin with Biodun Stephen. Hi. Please take your microphone. Here you go. It's interesting because for me, Biodun Stephen, like the critics rightly said, you are a storyteller. There's several movies that I've seen. Ovi's Voice, for instance, I cried like a baby. Many others, Breaded Life. These are feel-good films. They are movies that you watch and it makes you feel good. It makes you happy. And that's what you're known to tell. But we've seen an evolving landscape with our cinematic era. We've gone from DVDs to theatrical releases. COVID came. We went into the streamers, and now we are seeing the surge in YouTube. I wouldn't want to put anybody in a box, but I want everyone to define for themselves what has changing your business model looked like in today's Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. I think that it's such an interesting time to be in Nollywood. When I don't think that I prepared for where we are now, and a lot of us, this is just really much, we're just trying to, according to the theme of the conversation, we're just trying to evolve to survive. But the good thing is, if you're a storyteller, regardless of the platform, I think that the most important job is tell the stories. Whether it's for the streamers, whether it's for the cinemas, whether it's for YouTube, just tell the stories. And I think that's where I am now. The messaging for me is clear. There's a clarity of purpose, and that is why I make films. So it's important that I continually do so, regardless of how the times are changing. Yes, it feels like crab movement for us, because, I mean, a few years ago we had moved forward, and they were saying moving left, and then we're back somewhere. But then again, where we are now in terms of YouTube, I don't think it's a bad place to be. Again, I look at YouTube as a global platform. The streamers are also a global platform. So, to be honest, you're trying to still do the same thing, exporting African stories to the world, and we're just doing this in a new media. That's how I see it.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Juliet?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. And like Biodun rightfully said, we are all evolving, and we're still going to be evolving in years to come. A lot of us were not prepared for the transition when COVID happened and all of that, but now we are ready, and we are learning, we are growing, and with the help of AI and digital technology happening day. Filmmakers in Africa have a lot to do, because half of the time I feel like we are still one step behind. For instance, I remember when, I think 2 years ago, there was a strike in Hollywood, in LA, when the writers were fighting for their rights and for some sort of equity when it comes to the AI that's now being a thing. You know, some of us were just relaxing here, but in the next 5 years, it's going to catch up with us. So what are we doing? So I just feel like as we're evolving, we still need to be heads on. We have to be very much aware and evolve with them as they're evolving. So the Western world is always ready to give us hand-me-downs, That's why when the likes of the streaming platforms that were here left, everybody just like, okay, YouTube. Yes, YouTube is a great platform. It's a great opportunity for us because it's global, like Biodun said. But then when YouTube makes it difficult for us, what are we going to do? At what point do we own our own narrative, tell our own stories, own our own platforms, streaming platforms for Africa? Or let's say for Nigeria, because we're here now. At what point do we start supporting our own? We have the likes of Kava and so many others that are coming up right now, right? At what point do we start subscribing to what is ours? At what point do we start supporting what is ours? It's the same way with the Nigeria films or films that are in cinemas. At what point do we start going out to support our own films? Yes, we can criticize. Yes, we can do, we can say, oh, maybe I don't like watching Nollywood. I meet people like that. Oh, I don't like watching Nollywood films and stuff. But at what point do you start supporting the creative sector? Because the creative economy is what runs Hollywood. It's what US actually makes the most money from. So at what point do we start having corporations, institutions, the government seeing what the creative economy brings to the country? So I think that's where I would just leave it. But yes, we're all evolving.
Thank you very much, Hamisha. Just before, I would really appreciate if you could just keep it down so we could really hear every single person speak. Hamisha, just as you're responding to this question, I would like you to also lay a little bit more emphasis on what Juliet Ibrahim said about supporting our own, because what is our own? Put that into perspective. What is actually our own? If our own means that, for instance, I produce a film, but you're not giving me what I rightfully deserve for what I produce, is it really our own? Or if our own means that the majority of Nigerians will not be able to have access for certain reasons or certain limitations, or perhaps people who are not Nigerian may not even have a voice in these spaces. Maybe they're from anywhere else in the world. What does our own mean for you as a filmmaker in Nigeria as well?
Thank you for that. So I'm going to start by saying the only constant in life is change. I think if we say that to ourselves and accept it, that is actually a narrative that helps us. And innovation versus history, if we can balance the two. So if we can learn from history, and we see curveballs come all the time, if we can look at the past and see what happened and prepare for it, but also know to innovate. And I've grown up in Lagos. I've grown up in Nigeria. I'm more Nigerian than I am probably Indian. I am Indian by descent. And my opinion is Nigerians, us, we can handle anything. So if there's anyone out there that can innovate, I'll give you an example. With Namaste Wahala, my crew was 30 people in Lagos. My crew in India for postcards was 100 people, but that does not mean that one was more efficient than the other. It's just that my 30 people here did more. My 100 people maybe, okay, fine, had more attention to detail. So in regards to things, to lead to what you said about our own, it's about supporting our own. And I think that that is something that's so important. And where I feel we can learn is actually India. India is got a population that's vast. We have that too. And one thing that's interesting, I was actually thinking, so when Namaste Wahala came out, it was on the top 10 in all the countries, including India. But India, when I go there, feels a little bit sometimes very satisfied with themselves. They watch their own content. Yeah, they allow some Hollywood in, a little bit of Nollywood. Postcards didn't get into the top 10 for India, but it got into the top 10 for the UK and the US because of maybe diversity and, they're excited about it. But India didn't. And my reasoning there is they're so happy with their own content. Their population is watching their content. They have probably 100 OTT platforms just for their own content. Yes, we get the Hollywood in, but they look at that as a very niche. Indians watch Indian content. So if we can have Nigerians watching Nigerian content first and target our own audience, we then can move global. But I think it's very important for our own to be our own.
Thank you very much for that, Anita.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. I think for us, I'm not a filmmaker, we're distributors. So for us, it's always about trying to evolve, like the topic says, basically evolve or die. And streamers come, they go, platforms come, they go. What we've learned, like for example, we started primarily, when I say we, I mean Tribe Nation, we started out, in the ancillary market. At first, that's basically just TV, streaming, airlines. And then we moved into cinema. And when we got into the cinema space, it was quite tough as well. So we had to expand beyond Nigeria. And so now we distribute both in English and French. So that was also our way of trying to get more for local content. I think there's an obsession. As much as what she said was very valid, we need to get Nigerians to love Nigerian content and pay for it. Like when a filmmaker comes out with a movie, pay for it. Don't just, YouTube is great because everybody gets to go on there, watch it for free. But I feel like it's still feeding the monster a bit, right? We need to learn to pay for content because it takes a lot to make a good film, right? But I also think that from a distribution perspective, the world is our oyster. It's a distributor's job to get new markets for a film. So I think producers need to place more pressure on their distributors. Now, mind you, a lot of distributors are doing great work. We are in French West Africa now. You see a lot of, now for example, is in the UK and Germany. So a lot of distributors, we're having to think outside the box. And I really believe that that's how distributors can support creators to make sure that you're getting the big bucks for your film. And the work doesn't stop with, because it must be so frustrating having to create, sell it, all of that. So
Love just joined us. A round of applause. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. So we have been talking about changing business narratives in this evolving stage that we are in Nigeria as a creative economy, specifically within the world of film. And there's been so much talk about the distribution platforms, the YouTube and its space right now, and getting Nigerians to love and pay for Nigerian content because we need to consume our own content. Now, you, of course, have really capitalized on the very platform in itself, and you have built so many different stories and built a huge following for yourself as well. However, I can imagine it must cost a lot to create what you do create and create your films. So with regards to what she said about monetizing, because, there's that thing about wanting to be seen versus wanting to make the money back. Is it a trade-off, or does it come hand in hand?
Okay, so sorry for coming late. Basically, right now, I think that we're at the point where we just most of us have keyed into the YouTube space, like we know, because that is where we have the the power to tell the kind of stories that we want to tell. Because for me, for one, I have actually been on YouTube for a very long time. I think I'm one of the first people that started YouTube. One of the first independent producers, and I've been here for a while. Even when I was still doing like other streaming platforms, I was still on YouTube and all of that. Right now, I think that we have, compared to before, we have more eyeballs on the YouTube space, but does it relate to the money that you make on the platform? That's another conversation, because right now we know that there's a lot of influx of YouTube channels as we speak, and that's kind of have affected the model, the way we make our money, and basically, the kind of money we were making before is not what we're making right now. So I think that we need to, still find a way that we can get back on the streaming platforms, because I don't know how sustainable it is.
YouTube is.
Honestly, it's just the truth. The YouTube space is more like the more you look, the less you see. People are carried away with the numbers, but does the number really translate to money? I can't say. I don't know. But coming from speaking from someone that has been on the space for a long time, I can tell you that it's kind of different right now. Before, we were very content with what we're making, but right now it's really something else. So I think we need to find a way to get back on those streaming platforms, because that's the only way that you can really get value for the kind of work you want to put out. And then it just kind of also limits our creativity, because you know that you box yourself into how much you can really make right? That way you can't really tell your story as a filmmaker. So I don't
Yeah.
know what the plan is, and I don't know what the way forward is, but we have to find a way
We have
to
to.
make it work.
Amazing. I want to do something very simple with the audience. How many of us here are very active YouTube film watchers? Can I just see everybody raise their hands up? Please raise your hand up. Well, you know that, see, I don't play with my YouTube and my films. Not a lot of people, interestingly. Okay, how many people here are active streamers? You know you are subscribed to at least one streaming platform, whether it's Netflix, it's Amazon, whichever one, Showmax, you're subscribed to at least one. Okay, so based off of what we're seeing, demand versus supply. This is the demand. Clearly, the people are active streamers. But in terms of the supply, how would you assess the availability of the platforms to provide what you supply as filmmakers? Because just third choice, how many people here have been to the theater in the last 3 months? You've been to the theater to watch a movie in the last 3 months. Please raise your hand up. Okay, so we can see that it's in the middle of both. So in terms of the supply, because you will create, like you rightly said, creators, filmmakers, you will always put your heart and soul into the movie, and that is money. The demand is clearly there, but in terms of the provision for what you create in today's Nigeria, how do you navigate that every time you're creating? Bjorn, I'm going to begin with you. That was a deep sigh.
So it's very easy for us to be carried away by the numbers of hands that were raised. And I think I want to just jump off what Amisha said. We need to get to a place. We have the numbers, 200 million people. That's a lot of people. I don't know why we should be struggling as filmmakers. One of the things, and it's so funny that Amisha, because yesterday I was having this entire conversation, how Bollywood, Indians have chosen Bollywood regardless. We need to get Nigeria to that place where Nigeria chooses Nollywood regardless. Then and only then, we will not need YouTube. We will not need this streaming.
What does regardless mean?
You know, when you support the work. Yeah, so, look, I think that in Hollywood, in Bollywood, there are some films that are not so great. Everybody's trying to navigate their way through it, right? But I think that the mentality of, and this is like me committing the fallacy of generalization, the mentality of average Nigerian is, I don't watch Nollywood, it's rubbish.
Is that true?
We need to, yes.
Okay,
No,
we'll get there. So clearly there's a no and there's a yes. We'll get there. 1 minute.
So I'll tell you something. Many times when we say, oh, how many of us are on Netflix and we raise our hands? This is our circle.
Yeah.
This circle.
All right,
this is
ladies and gentlemen, please, we'll get to questions and answers. Thank you.
This is our circle. And so we are confused that we think that our circle is watching a particular platform. So the whole world is watching. No. There's an economic situation. So which means that somebody in Nigeria, he cannot afford cinema, cannot afford Netflix, cannot even afford the data for YouTube. So we need to create solutions such that this content that we are creating here travels and trickles down to everybody. There are people who don't even know that we exist. Literally, when I joined YouTube because of this hustle, let me tell you something. I realized they don't know me. Wow. Nobody knows me. And I had to start putting myself, act small roles. They say, like, this woman, they don't even know who I am. So it's a different jungle. It means that, literally, I just think that I'm known, but I'm only known within my own 360. What happens to that? So I think that, in this whole matter, we really need, to make Nigerians choose Nigeria. And the only way is when we begin to appreciate Nigeria. Look, another example would be using Yoruba films. Why are they doing well in cinemas over us? Over the English films? Because they have loyalists. Those people are loyal. They'll go and see their films. They're very grassroots. But a lot of us, the ABC, C1 class, that can afford to go to cinemas, we will not choose us. But the DEF class will choose us. But we are not marketing to them. That is the problem. We need to market to them. And we need to market to them in the coins that they can afford. You know the Igbo man, there's one something that the one I will tell you, I'll make 1 naira on the box of biscuits if I can sell 1,000 in 1 hour, than make 10 naira and sell only 100 in 1 hour. We need to start thinking like that. And that's the only way we can get it. Because you see this ABC, they will not choose us.
Okay. Does anyone want to jump on this? Anyone in particular, Juliet? Okay.
So everything she said, 100% correct. What I just want us to focus on more, and that's part of the evolving process, is that we have to start having those conversations with the right people amongst ourselves to know what we lack, what we need to do, the way forward, because there are people who are experts in this. I know a lot of us are not big on collaboration. We are not big on supporting each other in our industry, and that's one of the major problems we have. People always have the opportunity, and gatekeeping comes in all the time. And when we have that mindset as a creative team, is a problem, because it's only one person and what they know, their opportunity, they jump on it, and everybody else is lost and confused. What do I do? How is this person making it? But what if you have that idea, the opportunity, and then you bring everybody else along? Is it not for the benefit of all of us at the end of the day? It's for the benefit of the industry. So we have to start collaborating. Like, it's key. Collaboration starts from when you are even having your story, meeting with the critics, like they said earlier on the platform, asking them, would you watch a movie like this? Are you interested in something like this? Meeting with people from maybe local communities or whatever, like people who are involved in what they want to watch. Those people that are supposed to come and watch your films, what do you want to watch? What are you interested in? We have to start having those kind of conversations. When we start having it, we'll understand what people need. Where is the lack? Why are people watching Telemundo so much, or K-drama? Why? Those stories are equally as good as ours. It's the same drama that we make. But why are they more interested in watching some Chinese or Korean person dancing? And why? We have to start having these tough conversations to understand why people are not watching and streaming our content and our films. And I think until we get to that point, we're going to be lost. We're still going to be making films and relying on a few people, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube or so to watch, and we're not going to be making. So the right conversations have to be had.
So does anybody want to give an assessment of the why? If you think about it, why do you actually think the people are not seemingly watching these films in the way that they should? Why do you think certain people, even if not, and if you don't agree as well, I would like to know if you don't agree that the Nigerian creative space is not choosing us. If you think that they are, I would also like to know. I think it should be.
I think I would say, like, from
Minute, just before, please. Could just keep it down for a moment so we can clearly hear what she's.
I think I'll just kind of piggyback on what out of respect I'll say Auntie B said, right? Because she's Auntie B to me. Okay, but I would say that I think a lot of people simply can't afford certain platforms. I distribute to cinemas. I know the average Nigerian cannot afford to watch a cinema film. Let's not deceive ourselves. If you track admissions year on year, it's dropped. And cinemas have responded by increasing ticket prices, which is the most absurd thing I can imagine. And I don't know if you guys saw Niyi Akimolayo. He came out with something, and they lambasted. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? There are people that haven't been to cinemas for years, not because they don't love Nollywood, but they cannot afford it. So I think that balance needs to be there. Yes, we need to find out what people want to watch, but I think we need to meet them where they are financially. And then we can talk about more access or something like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because even me as a person, going to the cinemas I think I've not been to the cinemas in like 2 years, and then I went to the cinema one time to watch a film, and then we were 3 of us, and then we were supposed to pay one very ridiculous amount, and this is me. And I'm like, why am I paying almost for something thousand naira for three of us to watch a film? So I would imagine what the average Nigerian would. So I think that just discourages a lot of people from watching. And then even if they have to go, it has to be a film that they have probably heard and has been talked about and talked about and talked about before they would go. But a typical film that just came out, people are really not going to see it because people cannot afford to just take a chance on a film that, you know, doesn't have a lot of promotion on. So I think that also affects it. So if they can look into it.
That's a very valid point. So we've established that definitely the theater prices are outrageous. But there's also the part, and I'm sure if there's anybody that is a theater owner here, challenge of the money factor and keeping the lights on in your building. And I imagine, that's why I started this by saying the economy within Nigeria, it's tough. Electricity prices, rent prices continues to go up. So balancing, I mean, I suspect that it may just phase out eventually, but I highly doubt that it will. Maybe we'll have a few people who are just ardent theater goers, but it might not just be as much of a money-making venture as it once was. Now to streaming. It's interesting to see that there's an increasing number of production companies that are putting together their own sub-platforms for content. In fact, YouTube now has, we all know YouTube channels to belong to individuals, but now YouTube channels production companies, where one product, like you rightly have, you have several different producing under your platform. But like you said, there's the issue of balancing the money you are in. So YouTube is great, but it's not giving you the returns for your hard work, and it's not allowing you express your creativity in the way that you do. So where does that leave us, the streamers? Do we or do we not need more? We're seeing cover coming up. That's exciting. How many more covers do, realistically speaking? And yeah, how many?
So I'm not sure if I'm going off the topic, but just when you said what you said, I thought about it. You asked the audience just now how many people watch YouTube versus streaming. Now, it's free to watch YouTube, but you pay for streaming. I thought I saw more hands up for streaming. So people spent money. And I think the reason spend money is because they want a certain quality. You know, when you go on certain platforms, you know you're going to get a certain quality. It's the same with theater as well. And I think where we're at now is a chicken and egg situation. If everybody in the industry, in life, in theaters and everything, respected their quality and respected the audience. So now, of course, budget's a big question. It's not easy to raise money or put money in to give that quality, but there are ways we could come together or be innovative. For example, I'll give you an example. I'm not afraid to ask for favors if I have to. I'll ask a restaurant, listen, I'm gonna put you in my movie, give me your space. Because I know I don't want to spend that money on the location. I would rather use that money towards something else, like my sound quality. So I think it's a place where we need to respect our audience who are coming online or who are coming and spending that money to watch, to be like, you know what, you're going to get a certain content. And again, I'm going to speak, I'm just speaking on a parallel. India went through the exact same thing. Wi-Fi was an issue, and then they had to pay for Wi-Fi. Then they had to pay for streaming. And so it was the same concept. But people still parted with their money, whether it was a security guard, whether it was a driver on minimum wage. They parted with their money because it was in them that, you know what, I want to watch this movie so badly. So I think we look at it in two ways. One is, do you make a product that people will watch no matter what? And will they spend their money? But then if they spend that money, will they be disappointed? Will they feel respected that that was something we delivered? So I do feel it's a balance. It's easy to be on all different sides and look at it from that perspective. But if each of us did what we had to do, then I think, you know, we could work together. And partnerships, collaborations, I think are great. Even if it's not between producers, between suppliers, between sponsors. There are businesses out there that want to put their product out there. So it's maybe putting on the commercial thinking hat to save money, but not compromise on our audience.
Hamish, recently there was a panel that was put together by the Bank of Industry in partnership with Afrexim Bank. And one of the conversations that came up was what you've just mentioned about help. What do I need to do, for instance, maybe as an individual, whether I'm an actor or producer, for you to look at me, and if I said to you, like what you just rightly said, I want to shoot a movie and I need your space. I mean, of course, there's a God factor. I'm a Christian, but why would you give that to me? You know, what is that expect? Because when we talk collaboration, sometimes there's a lot of people in this industry, and I'm not saying this to disrespect anyone, but there's a lot of people that feel like they don't owe you anything. They've had to go through the hard work themselves. Nigeria was, they survived Nigeria themselves. That's why there's gatekeeping. People do not want to collaborate. So, to that, what is the rationale that would make, say, person A say, I just want to the last 20 years?
So I also think it's the concept. I also think it's about how you, I mean, it's all a business plan, right? So if you have a business plan or you have an idea in your head, so everybody isn't a filmmaker, right? So it's some people come in and they've been educated on it, or they're a business person and they have the idea already of how they're going to have a return. And I get that that's the chicken and egg of how are we always going to monetize this. But if you can actually show a possible sample, or if you have a history, or if you have a brand that you can show off, and that is where it's growing. And sometimes, and this is where I think social media, internet actually benefits us, because you could have a small little idea. There's some skits out there that have gone viral with almost no budget, just because it's ingenious, you know. So raw talent, persistence, harassing that person till they let you in. I mean, there's so many ways. I've done it, so I know.
Okay, would anybody else like to speak on this before we throw it to the audience? Okay, everyone is okay? All right, I'd like to give the I feel like you want to say something. Right? Am I the only one who thinks so? You've been, And if you don't have to be, what you does, coming. Why? Just express. Just say it. To be honest, killing all the information. That one of the key things that we must do is that a lot of us, this industry was built out of pocket. A lot of us are doing this work fueled by passion, not because you are making anything, to be honest, surviving by God's grace. It is not an easy industry to be. And as Amisha was talking about collaboration, access, and I'm here just thinking about the young new filmmakers. Even me, thinking they have it easy. The actors, they have it easy. But for somebody behind the scene, walking to any place, they first look at you. Who are you? And I've seen this happen, and I'm thinking here about the young the young filmmakers who we are saying to them, oh, just be persistent. Just even getting an opportunity to speak, to even pitch, that's tough. That in itself is tough. Just for them to even listen. I mean, I'm not afraid of no, because I know that the worst you can say is no. But just listen to me. That is tough. So we should not, I feel like, you know, let's try and balance these conversations. Because just getting through that door, from the gatesman, they have already sized you up and tell you, get out of here. You know, so I think that it is such a tough thing. But I think that more importantly is that when we make this out of love, out of passion, we also need to educate the audience. Earlier on, the conversations with the critics was really, really important. But I also think that the critics also have a job to do. And their job is not just to criticize the film, but also educate the audience. The audience don't even know sometimes what they are watching. And I'll give you an example. I was having this conversation a few minutes ago. And you see, the audience also determines the kind of film we are making, because literally everybody's trying to make a film to impress the audience. So where they train me, first 15 minutes, you sort of introduce the actor and build up reasons why this actor will behave a certain way later. But Nigerians like buzz from the first scene. So that is why sometimes you feel like the film looks like a collection of, because that is what they like. Once the film is 15 minutes and their building story is dragging, so I think that this whole collaboration is not just between me and producer. Yes, it's with us. Because those things are also helping us. As much you know?
So as much as we complain about, audience are so quick to talk about Nollywood, the audience are also not helping us because we are literally struggling to survive and we're trying to give them what they want, which is why you see one producer, today action film, tomorrow comedy, next tomorrow, because you are reading feedback and you're like, okay, this is what they want. Okay, they want this person. Gas goes, fight. And it's not helping you. Because so we also need this whole industry for you to survive, for you to thrive, for us to flourish. The education has to be 360. That is what I'm thinking.
Yes, okay, so I don't know
Go
if
ahead.
I'm going to be able to say this sometime, but I want to just put it out here. I want to talk about something about gatekeeping. One of the problems that we have in the industry is we do not understand that the industry strive when we all strive. Before we can say we have an industry, like 70 or 80% of people have to be doing well.
Thank you. Please, let's keep it
right?
down.
I watched when the big streamers came. A lot of people were just hoarding information, hoarding, everybody was gatekeeping. I'm not going to tell you where I'm selling. I'm not going to tell you who I'm selling to. Everybody wants to just be the one to be I have
Excuse
7
me.
slates and all of that. I'm watching it. Same thing happen to the YouTube space. It's so unfortunate because I say to people, why is it that one person just wants to win? The whole industry can win. When you have information, share it. When you think that, what happened with the streamers, I just saw it coming. And it's unfortunate that the same thing is happening on the YouTube space because you get to a point where right now, it's actually, like Auntie Bia said, if most times favors the actors, right? And then people feel, I'm not going to, so what is happening right now, is like, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to work for this person, I'm not going to, everybody's just, trying to keep it for themselves. And to the detriment of the full industry. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5 people striving while we have 85% of the people suffering. And at the end of the day, the whole platform will crash. So I feel like we should first think of it as an industry. When everybody, like if I strive, you strive, you strive, everybody will win. But when one person wins, the industry would not strive. And without an industry, I don't know what we're doing. So I don't know, that gatekeeping thing is a problem.
Thank you very much. And I would also like to put this out there. While we think of questions, by the way, if anyone has questions, this is the time to please put your hands up. Someone told me something about a King's Court. In the early days, how creativity was something that the King's Court will pay for so that the people can be entertained. And I want to say this to investors as well. As we are investing in creatives, like she rightly said, everybody can thrive at the same time. There's enough space to fly. Please, if you have questions, let's put our hands up so that I could begin to bring questions to everybody. I think we can take as many questions as possible. I can begin with you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for, everything you've shared. But, Kachi, I want to speak to the question that you asked around the room. How many people watch the streamers, and then YouTube and all that? It's easy to deduct, but I don't think this is a good sample population to actually use to make those calls. Because juxtapose going to Ajegunle and taking this same poll, right? I went into a shop 2 days ago and I saw Galaxy Television and I saw movie. It looks strange to me that people are watching Galaxy and they are watching films. So the question is, who is catering for those people, right? And that is actually where you have the numbers. So my question and comment at the same time will be, how are we intentionally, because like she said, what she said is very eye-opening. There are places that nobody knows. Nobody knows she even exists. So for us to, stay in a comfort zone and feel that, okay, yes, we have made it, I think that's very, very faulty. So how can we actually make sure, because we've established something here, 2 people going to cinema, popcorn and drink 28K. It's not really, I don't know how, that is supposed to be sustainable. So how can we, where the numbers, the CDE, how are we able to reach those demographics? Because they are the ones that we appreciate our own originals. The people at the top, most of them don't watch Nollywood. They won't watch YouTube. So how can we, as an industry, move forward to the point where, if there is no free to air tomorrow, there is no Galaxy, how will these people be fed?
And I like that you brought in the free-to-air part. You know, I don't know if anyone or maybe an economist or government official is here to help with that question. But the free-to-air aspect is essential because the quality of production for these things as well, the costs as well. If we want to cater to these people, financially, how do you get your remuneration back? This is the thing. So I don't know if at all we say we want to do it, and I'm going to pose this back to you, maybe you can also, because that's a significant factor. The production, the actors, the talent alone, the production of this thing. If at all you say you want to cater to the actual people that will watch it, the truth is the actual people cannot afford to enjoy it in a way that you will get your money back. So
Kachi, let's also pay attention to distribution and windows. There are distribution windows, right? Why is it that 5 years after Wedding Party, one was produced, is not on any free-to-air channel?
Okay.
Why? It has done all the windows. Possibly the investment has been recouped, right? So why is it that that window of distribution, people are not paying attention to it? I know that, you know, there is a whole lot of it's a different word, the advertising. By the time we're having our conversation with Baba here, Wala Denuga MFR, by the way, please let's put our hands together for him. Yes, he will help us understand that space, because that is one space that me too, I do not really understand. But the key thing is there is an opportunity for monetization at some point. But why is it that we get to a point, oh, we've sold to the streamers, we've done first window, second window, and that's it?
Does anyone on the panel want to contribute? Yes, please, Anita.
So I can speak as a distributor. The truth of the matter is that I'll take it from two angles. Number one, as a distributor, right? Free-to-air channels, they are not paying in terms of license fees. You've had this, I think this was NIFS 2 years ago, that you literally had to do like a whole session and you were trying to explain, okay, how much will you pay? It's that bad. I'm not going to call the name of the platform. Yes, I'll get to that. But I won't call the name of the platform. How can I take a cinema movie to you and you're offering me 30,000 naira? Okay, so put yourself in my shoes as a distributor. Auntie B, if I'm your distributor, if I call you and say I have a 30,000 naira deal for me, sure you will not swear for me. You will actually swear for me. Now, yes, I do understand. It's not, but 30,000, it cannot work. What they call it, even if you think of it from like an advertiser-driven perspective. Okay, so now distributors will carry the film market to multiple markets. We now have to start figuring out advertising as well. Who do I then put that burden on? The producer who is already battered, broken? Maybe they've not even recouped their money, because sometimes when we talk about windows, we assume that everybody has made their money back by the time they are done. And it's not the reality for everybody. It's not. So I think what we need is even our TV channels, because I know you said something when you were asking the question that, oh, what if they don't exist? But they do. They should try. They should find the budgets respectfully. Respectfully. If you own a TV channel here, respectfully look for get investors. Because people are already investing. I can't count the number of producers. We represent almost 200 producers. Most of them are in my DM crying. When they want to bury their parents, you are the first person they will call. Because they gave you their film. When they want to get married, they will call you first. I should call that person and tell them, oh, XYZ, I won't call the name of the channel, because that one actually paid me. XYZ channel has 18,000 naira for you. 18K. 20K with a beg.
Wow.
That I should beg the producer. I can't count the number of new platforms that have reached out to me to ask for content for free. I'm like, you can't do that. And I'm going to, in fact, personally, I've made up my mind. I'm not going to encourage bad behavior anymore. I'm not calling any producer to beg for any platform anymore. If you have enough money to market your platform, you have enough money to pay for the content on that platform. Stop insulting producers.
Thank you very much. All right, so we're going to take... Okay, so we have to take at least 3 questions, so...
Quickly just jump on what she said. And this is in regarding to what Ijoma said about, TV stations. I mean, I don't know how many of us were born in the era of Behind the Clouds or Paloma. Anyway, all of those network programs, you know, those Sunday shows, the channel markets that belt. So, in fact, you are watching the program for maybe 35 minutes because the remaining 25 is advertising. Why can't the channel create a slot for Nigerian movies, market that slot, then share the proceed with the filmmaker, be distributor? But no, they want to give you only 25,000 or free because they think that they are doing a favor. Please.
Okay, first question, please. Really quick, your name and your question.
All right, my name is Peter Gbenola. I'm happy to see Shine here, Mama Shine. So my question is straight. You said something about numbers. YouTube. Do the number really do justice to the revenue?
No. Simple. No. There's no need to go. No. There's no need to beat around the bush. No. No at all. So see, I always say YouTube is just the more you look. Don't get me wrong. Money can be made on YouTube. Money have benefited from YouTube. But the way it is right now compared to the way it was 2 years ago is different. Right? So I don't know whether it's a YouTube thing, but from what I hear is...
Can we keep it down, please? Thank you.
Regardless of the amount of channels or intakes or whatever that is on YouTube right now, YouTube has a budget for every region. So when we were fewer, you know, it was... the cake went round. But now that there are a lot of people, that same budget is still allocated to the same region. So everybody has to share it. So at the end of the day, you know, before, I could get 1 million views and I'm smiling to the bank, I'm happy, you know, I've made a lot of money. But right now, even if you make 1 million views, you've not even probably made half of your money back. So it's changed. Things have changed, yeah.
Okay, we have another question here. Your name and your question, please. Let's keep it very short. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brenda. I'm a producer. This is my question, and I'm glad with what Auntie B just said, because that was where I was going to come from. You produce a film, and you've spent millions to make this film, and you go to a distributor, and the distributor is trying to sell your film, and this platform is saying you're going to bring so million for publicity or marketing. And you take it to cinema, and cinema is telling you, oh, this is the sharing formula for the first month, for the second month, or for so period. And by the time I calculate 1 year has passed and I've not made my, production cost back, or 2 years is passing, is it possible to get these, I don't know if I should, no, not the distributors, these platforms, to somehow, like you've said, pay for marketing and publicity? No wahala, we will share the money, right? But so that the producers can make their money back in time. And our DMs will start going, oh, when investors are calling, I cannot sleep in the night. They are chasing me with cutlass.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, that's my question.
Amazing. Who would like to take that?
So I don't think that most of the distributors will want to take that risk, because they will just heap it on the producers. Producers are the ones that will figure out how to make a film, figure out how to market it, figure out how to get just figure out everything. At the end of the day, if your movie makes 2 naira, you take the least share and you go home. So I don't know why, like she said, distributors, yes, cannot share the risk of marketing. If I make a film and you believe in my film, you should be able to say, okay, this is my projection on the film. I'll put this amount and we will push it, and that way we'll be able to recoup it. But no, you still have to go and figure out how to make your money back. So if that can be looked into, I don't know. And it's usually very ridiculous. They'll just say, oh, go and bring X amount on marketing, and you're not even guaranteed your money back. So I don't know why distributors do not want to take that risk if they believe in a project. Unless, of course, they do not believe in it. And they're just doing business with you.
Let me say, it's not like we don't believe in your films. It's just that some of us are we're still trying to recoup the ones we have believed in that did not believe in us back. So it's not like we don't believe in you. We believe in your film. Your film is nice. But first of all, on a serious note, the box office is like it has a spirit. Sometimes it goes up, it comes down. So it's not very easy to project accurately because a lot of factors do go into what comes out, right? And so there are times we make correct projections. I like to say that one of the best investments we did last year was there was a film that pretty much every Nigerian cinema refused to take. And then we sent it to French countries and they loved it. They booked it. And the producer didn't have the money to market it or push it into that market. We took on the cost. We made our money back. The producer made money. Now, that is one out of how many releases that we have. So it's not like we're averse to risking with you, investing or co-investing with you. We just have to be measured as well, right? We do. I talk to international content providers, and they're always shocked with our model. So yes, the future should be distributors offering MGs for the rights to your film, and we're getting there, but it's step by step.
Thank you very much. And we have another question here. Please go ahead.
All right, my name is Charles. I have a short comment and a question. And the first comment would be, I think there should be a realization by everybody, that the industry has reached an inflection point. And in that inflection point where we are right now, it is those who think out of the box that would really move forward, because all we are just hearing are just basically woes and cries and all that from people that have made money before when the industry was good, and it doesn't look like they seem to have the solution to anything, as it were. And which brings me to let me just talk about that advertising part. Somebody spoke about TV earlier and talked about advertising. Even the advertising industry is at an inflection point too in terms of what they want to do when it comes to terrestrial and terrestrial television advertising. Everything is escalating to a different terrain, and we all, as creatives, have to begin to morph into what we think. We have to be thinking 5 years ahead. You know, we have to be thinking not thinking 5 years behind or 5 years, in where we are. Which brings me to my comment. My question right now. I think Chine was saying something about YouTube and YouTube. And that's for everybody who's also going on doing it, if you are not making money on any platform, why are you still there? That's the question. Why are you still there? What are you still doing there?
Thank you very much.
When I say these things, I'm not personalizing it to myself, right? Because I'm comparing it to when I started. Doesn't mean that we're not making money. So yes, there's money on YouTube, but I'm saying that how many people on YouTube are really making money? It's just I'm generalizing to everyone how many people are really making money. So for me, I'm here because I already have a community, I already have a platform. I have started a long time when it was easier to have gotten people. But we have new filmmakers. We have a lot of newbies that are just opening their channel that do not have a community, right? Those are the people that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about myself. So if I wasn't making money on YouTube, I would not be in this space, right? So that's for me, that's what it is. But it is hard for people that are just getting into the space presently because of how the system is, basically. But it's not for me.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do we have any more responses to that? Okay. I think we can take our final question because our time is up at this time.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so my name is Roland. I'm the deputy head of YouTube, Aforevo. Shout out to Chini Love. I love that part that you said, I've been there for a very long time. I remember I met you like 8 years ago. So I want to just comment on YouTube, making money on YouTube, and also the challenges that we are facing. I've had a lot of people calling me from US, from the UK, from Germany, and those people are investors. What happened to them? Some producers probably reached out to them and said, you know what, you can make money on YouTube. You can make money via Nollywood. And they will collect large sum of money from these guys. Collect maybe like 20 million, 30 million, and shoot a movie of 1.5 million. It's crazy. There are some movies that will come to us, and after preview the movie, yeah. So what I want to say is, the solution is just collaboration. And I'm telling you, you can't make money just on one channel. As we speak, it's not possible. Why? Because the YouTube
What
ecosystem...
is the question?
Yeah, so I just want to contribute, then I will now ask my question.
Because time is up and there's so many people as also,
All right.
please. Thank you.
My question, like what I asked Maoga Ayo Anifashau in Paris, why are we afraid of collaboration? Sometimes we go to a lot of people and say, do you know what? We can help you generate more revenue. And our door is open. Let's collaborate. And they are afraid. So why are we afraid of collaboration? That's just my question.
Okay, I'm going to answer that because I've actually been approached by you guys before, and you guys came in with a crazy percentage sharing model, which didn't make sense for me because as a filmmaker, independent filmmaker, I'm putting my money into my film on my own, and you didn't do any work, and you're like, okay, I have this avenue to help you distribute or promote your film, and I should give you 30% or more. Like, why? I don't know if I'm making sense. How do I trust you in the process? So you have to understand that if you can't really give me a convincing, reason of why I should give you 30% out of my hard-earned work, I will wait for 10 years until I sell my film. I will not rush because some of us are very patient, and we will wait because it's mine, So in that collaboration you're talking about, it means you have to meet me halfway. You have to find ways of, okay, Julia, let's start small. I'm going to do this for you this way, that way. Then we can grow together. Maybe you can come on board as a co-producer. Why not? That's where the collaboration starts. So if we're both producing, you're bringing money, I'm bringing money, then we can share. So a lot of us have a lot of trust issues because some people are kind of like still being cookish in the background. And like you want to steal off somebody's sweat. And so many people come up with a lot of ideas. And I like the collaboration part because what I've noticed with YouTube now, just a little tip, is that someone like Chinny can have a channel and you can actually put mine on yours and push it to your followers. And a lot of people don't know that in Hollywood, that we can actually push each other's channel. Yeah, they're not willing, but we can actually collaborate. So when you put like the tag or whatever on your YouTube, as someone's watching your film, mine can pop up and you can refer the other person. If we all start doing that, that's the way forward. But everybody's holding on. Yes. So I just wanted to just drop that.
When your model was on, it was good, it was nice, but you need to realize that trust issues, transparency was one of the issues people had. And when people now realized that they could do it by themselves and they could see access to their back end, why not? Because one of the issues people had those days was transparency. I can tell you for a fact. So it's not like it wasn't good to sit back, give your films to this platform, let them distribute. It's not even really the percentage because, like he said, what they were offering was, multiple channels. So what you would make on your own, even at 100%, might not be what you will make on theirs, even with their, maybe 30 to 40% that they were taking. But how convincing were you guys with the transparency? For me, for once, I was okay with it, but I knew a lot of producers that would run because, okay, you know what I'm talking about. That was the issue. And then by the time people now realize that they could open their own and see their back end, they rather just open their own and just be pushing it that way. So that's what killed that collaboration because at the time, everybody was tilting towards, collaborating with you guys. Yes.
Thank you very much. And a final 1 minute intro.
I thought you said 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes.
All right. My name is Kenem Baro. I'm the founder of Film House Cinemas and Film One Distribution. Currently president of Commonwealth Cinemas. Right, okay, so we hear a lot of questions here. Just like quick comments here. Please, guys, we're repeating the same things every year. It's really embarrassing. Nifs takes time to organize business lectures. They're not going to sit on a panel, and in a short time answer basic questions on film distribution, film marketing, and film business. Yesterday, we were at this program for 8 hours talking on the business of film, where you will learn these things in detail. Yeah? And yet, we don't attend these things, and then we come to a panel session and expecting them to give you all the answers in a short time. It's really frustrating. The answers are not difficult. A lot of real questions you're asking. People are asking about sharing formula. People are asking about distributors and exhibitors contributing to marketing funds. Very real questions, but the answers are there. Attend. This Ijeoma does a great job to put these business sessions together, answering all these fundamental questions. But we won't attend. Then next year, the next year's Nifs, we'll be asking the same questions. For lack of knowledge, you will perish in your business. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a round of applause for every single person. Let me just point out that in the spirit of making sure we are all attending, there is a masterclass happening on Sunday. So I'm so sorry if you're unable to get your questions in today, but I'm sure you will if you show up for the masterclasses. I would like to thank every single person that has been a part of this conversation, everybody on the panel, from Chini Love to Anita Edwards to Hamisha, Juliet Ibrahim, Bjordan Stephen. Thank you so much for your time and effort. And I would like to end this panel by introducing a video that is from Forever 7 Entertainment. My name is Kachi Ofia, and this has been amazing. Please, let's turn our eyes to the screen and enjoy the video that we have. Yes, you can.
So just before the video starts, this is in the interest of innovation, of outside the box. Just my history with Ijeoma. I value her audience. When I dropped Postcards, the trailer, before it was bought, I dropped it with Ijeoma at Cannes. And today I've actually worked on another project which is completely pivoting from what I normally do, but is in what I hope you love. And so I would love to drop it for Ijeoma's audience today, just to see how you take it. And I would love your feedback at the end. So it's a little, hopefully all of you smile. It's for kids, but I hope we can be kids today and take it like a child.
Lives a girl named Simran, your new best friend. With questions so big and dreams so bright, her world is a rainbow shining with light. Clap your hands and stomp your feet. Namaste Simi, catch the beat. From Nigeria's skies to India's breeze, we're dancing together with joyful ease. Simi's here with a team so true. Sarah kicks the ball and shouts, woohoo! TJ loves his chocolate delight. Sid builds towers, stacking them tight. Gigi sings when the moment's right. Together we shine, oh what a sight. Simi's circle of friends, we're all here, bringing laughter, joy and cheer. With her mom Nalini and her dad Bonsoon, they fill her days with warmth and fun. Miss Mead, they teach us with a smile so wide, and butterflies dance with the music inside. Whoa. From the Ikoyi Bridge to the Taj Mahal, we celebrate one and all. Hands held tight, we twirl and spin. Friendship's the magic. Let's begin.